In today's video, you're going to learn how to turn this portrait into this using different types of color palettes. So you're going to learn all of the steps from creating the color palette to applying the colors to the portrait. So make sure you watch until the end of the video to learn all of the steps from start to finish. And you'll also find all of the timestamps to follow along with this video in the description below. So let's get started. So to get access to all of these images that we'll be using, you can click the links in the description below. So let's first set up this image right here. So click on the portrait image in the description below and simply right click on the image and copy the image. Then open up Photoshop and click on Create New. So you should see 1500 pixels here and 2250 pixels. If you don't see that, just change it to those dimensions and change this resolution to 300 pixels per inch. And the color mode should be RGB and 8-bit right here. And leave the background content as white and click on Create. Then we're going to paste in the image by pressing Ctrl V or Command V if you're on a Mac. And you should also see this layers panel right here. So if you don't see the layers panel, just go up to Windows and click on layers. So what I want to do is delete the background because we don't need that. We just need the subject. So to delete the background, I'm going to choose this image and then go up to the selection tool right here at the top. That's the marquee tool. And then click on select and mask. So that'll open up this new window. And at the top here, you should see select subject. So if you don't see select subject, just choose one of these three tools right here and you should see select subject. Then simply click on it and it will go through the image, figure out what the subject of the image is, and it will select it for you. So now it's accurately selected the subject, so you just click on OK. And now we have a selection of the subject. So what I want to do is select the background and delete the background. But right now it's the subject that's selected. So you can see that little outline right there. So what I'll do is go up to select and click on inverse. And what that will do is it will inverse the selections. Now, before it was the subject that was selected, now it's selected everything else that wasn't selected, which was the background. So now I simply just press delete and it will delete the background. And to deselect, just press Ctrl D or Command D if you're in a Mac, and you can deselect everything. So now we have the subject ready to go. Next, we're going to create a simple color palette. And for this, we're going to use the Adobe Color Wheel. So I'll leave a link to this website in the description below. And it's really simple to use. All you do is just move this middle circle right here. So let's say there's a color you're interested in, maybe something like red. And you can just move it around there and it will just create a color palette for you. So it will give you 5 different colors. And you can also move the ones on the side. So maybe you want to move this a bit further here. And you can see all of these move as well. So it's going to create the right colors for you based on the second color that you choose. So maybe you want some colors that are all kind of similar to each other. Maybe something like this. So you kind of huddle them all together. You can also play around with this tool right here at the bottom. So the further you move this to the left, the darker the colors become. The further you move to the right, the brighter it becomes. So I don't want it to be too bright. Probably just about in the middle is good for me. So I think I'll keep it there. So I'm only looking for 4 colors, not 5. So I just need one color that's really dark and one color that's really light. So maybe I'll keep this right here in the middle as the darkest one. And maybe I'll move this color bit further to the middle so it becomes light. So I think that looks pretty good. I think this one's a bit too different to these 3 right here. So what I'll do is maybe move this one together right here. And I'm not worried about this one, so I'm not going to look at that one too much because I only need 4 colors. And I think it looks good just about there. So next we're going to apply these colors to the portrait. So to do that, we're going to work with the layers panel. So if you still don't see the layers panel, make sure you go up to Windows and click on layers right here. So we have layer 1, which is the portrait image, and we're going to rename that to original image. So to rename it, you simply double click on the name and you can just type in the name you want. So I named it to original image, and I also like to keep an extra copy of the original image. So to create an extra copy, you just simply click and drag it into the new layer icon. So now there's another extra copy of it. So if we make a mistake, we can always go back to the original copy. So to choose the original image copy layer right here, and then go up to Image, Adjustments, Threshold. So the threshold effect just turns the image into a black and white image. So there's no gray, there's no color, it's just black and white. And the further you move this to the left, the more whiter it becomes. The further you move this to the right, the darker it becomes. So for the first color, we're going to make this quite white. So I'm going to move this quite far to the left, almost to the point where you can't really even see the face. You should only be able to see the eyes just slightly, the nose and the mouth. So I think it looks good there. So I'll just click on OK. Next, we're going to choose the Magic Wand tool right here. So if you click and hold right here, there's this option, Magic Wand tool. And make sure Contagious is clicked off. So make sure it's off. And then what this tool does is, let's say you click on a black part of this layer. So I just clicked right here. Then it chooses anything else that's black within that layer. So whatever color that you click on, it's going to choose the same colors within that layer. So if I click right here on the white, it's going to choose the white colors. If I click right here on this black, it's going to choose all of this black as well. But if you have Contagious turned on, and let's say I choose this black right here, it's only going to choose this black right here. Anything that's joined to this black part of the layer that I just clicked on. So make sure you have Contagious turned off. Then what you do is just hide this layer, the original image copy layer, by clicking on the eye icon. And we're also going to hide the original image layer as well. And we're left with just the selection. So now go back to the color palette and we're going to choose the darkest color. So that's this middle one right here. So I'm going to copy this. So choose the darkest color out of the color palette. And then we're going to create a new layer and I'm just going to rename this to 1. And then I'll choose the color picker tool and I'll paste in the color code that we just copied. Click on OK. Choose the paint bucket tool right here and just fill the selection in. And then to deselect, just press Ctrl D, and this is the first color that we've applied. So make sure you copy the color right here. And now we're going to do the same thing with the second darkest color. So I think the second darkest is probably this one. So I'll copy this and go back to Photoshop. So now I'm going to reveal the original image copy layer right here, create another extra copy, and let's hide the original image layer behind it. And let's choose the original image copy 2 layer this time. Go up to Image, Adjustments, Threshold. And just like before, we're going to make this quite white, but make sure you can actually see it above the red color. So just about there. Yeah, I think it looks good there. And then again, choose the Magic Wand tool. Make sure Contagious is turned off. And then just click on a black color and get the selection. And then hide the original image copy 2 layer right here. And we're going to go back to the color pick tool, paste in the color code that we just copied, which is kind of that brownish color. Click on OK, choose the paint bucket tool. I'm going to create a new layer and I'll just rename this to 2. And I'll just fill that in. So there we go. So that's the 2 colors applied. So that looks good so far. We can make some adjustments later on the different colors right here. But I think those 2 colors look good so far. So let's go back to the next color, which is this one right here. Let's copy this. Maybe we could even try this one. So let's just try this one and just see what it looks like. So this is what you have to do. You kind of have to play around with the different colors and different effects to get the exact effect that you're going for. So let's create another extra copy of the original image layer. Let's reveal it by clicking on the eye icon. Go up to Image, Adjustments, Threshold. And we're going to make sure the black comes out a little bit so we can actually see it. And then we're going to choose the Magic Wand tool, make sure Contagious is turned off, get the selection, create a new layer. Now rename this to 3. And I'll choose that purple color that we just picked and I'll just fill it in with the black, with the purple one. So that looks a bit too intense. Maybe we're gonna redo that one. So I'm gonna undo by pressing Ctrl Z or Command Z if you're in a Mac, and just undo it to the point where you just have the selection. And now just choose maybe this color instead. So depending on the type of color palette that you made, it might come out different for you. So let's choose a different color on the color picker tool and let's fill this one in. So I think that looks much better now. So that looks really good now. So I'm quite happy with that. So with this color, this last kind of purple color, we might be able to use this as a background. So let's copy this, and you'll notice when I add this as a background, so let me just create a new layer and I'll just rename this as background, and I'll just pick the color picker tool, paste in that purple color. You'll notice now it looks a bit weird because right now we don't have that white outline for the portrait. So to do this, we're going to scroll back down, press and hold Control or Command if you're on a Mac, and click on the box of the original image layer right here. So what that does is it just selects everything within that layer. So within the original image layer is the outline of the original image that we created at the start. So now scroll back up, create a new layer, and I'm just going to call this white portrait, and I'll choose a white color and I'll fill this in. So now this looks much better now. So we've got that background and it looks good with this background, but I think the background is still a bit too bright. So what we could do is play around with the color palette a bit more, or we can choose maybe this color right here. So let's copy this and let's fill that in right here and see what that looks like. Yeah, it's a little bit better, but might actually look good just as it is right here. So I'm actually quite happy with that. And if you guys have any, that's how you create a portrait effect with color palettes on Photoshop. So if you guys have any questions about any of the steps that we just took, make sure you comment down below. If you have any video requests, you can also comment down below with that as well. And make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload next week's video. And I'll see you in that video.